Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan, and if you're watching our show, you've probably known your boy has undergone a little bit of a body transformation, and I gotta tell you, Peloton has helped me on my fitness journey. It got the ball rolling for me because I watch my wife on the Peloton. She takes all these great classes, she has her favorite instructors. I listen to the music, I'm a big music guy. It gets me fired up, makes me want to take part in this fitness phenomenon known as Peloton. Peloton offers a variety of challenging classes, from 4-week strength building classes to running, cycling, and everything in between. Peloton will help you achieve your goals, and maybe you'll have some fun along the way. I know I have. It's backed by thousands of members whose lives have been changed. Be part of that group. Telling you, I'm better for it. Have it in my office. Sometimes I can put on the baseball game. Sometimes I can put on a soccer match. Some other times I'm totally locked in on an emo playlist. Find your push. Find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. The Department of Defense is working with Google to help secure America's digital defense systems, from establishing cloud-based zero-trust solutions to deploying the latest AI technology. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American Innovation.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Tomorrow night, join Billy, Mikey A., Andrew Hawkins live from the DraftKings Sports and Social in Nashville, 128 2nd Avenue North. Live stream begins at 8 Eastern on the Le Batard YouTube channel, presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
Greg, just a question, may seem random to you. Who's more handsome, Andrew Hawkins or Method Man?
I had never considered that in my life. I'm going to abstain until I see a photo of both
Excellent
of them side
work
by side.
on your feet. That's why he's the tap dancer that he is, an improv artist, all known to all.
Which do you know what they look like less?
Actually, I did improv in my acting class and slayed, like everybody would. Christopher will tell you.
You introduced Wu-Tang Clan via song in Las Vegas.
Right.
At Circa.
Yeah.
So you know what Method Man looks like.
Right. I don't know Walter.
Walter?
Yeah.
Walter, keep working this out.
Cronkite?
Talk it out. Yeah. Walter who?
No, what's his name? Walter Hawkins?
Andrew Hawkins.
That's exactly
Okay,
what his
I
name
don't
is.
know him. I'm sorry.
You're in the same stable. That's wow, that went poorly. I'm sorry.
Former
know him.
Browns receiver,
Mogul?
No, don't know him.
Walter Hawkins.
No.
I'm going to ask him if he knows who you are.
He works with us.
Why would he?
He's because he's our teammate. He works.
He does shows.
Sorry, I can't know everybody.
He's right about that.
I mean, he's
right. He can't know everybody.
can't know everybody.
Right.
Is this a revelation? You don't know what Andrew Hawkins looks like?
He has no idea what we're talking about.
Walter Hawkins.
He
This
thinks
is-
I thought you said Walter.
Andrew Hawkins is a former Browns receiver.
Okay, I don't cover
had
the
a nice
Cleveland
career.
Browns.
He's been doing shows with us for months.
Years.
Okay.
Years.
Yeah, he's been in this series for years.
I doubt that, but I apologize to
No,
Andrew.
he has worked with us for years.
To be fair, not on a Greg Cody Tuesday or Wednesday.
Thank you.
Very
Or
true.
Thursday.
I've
or
never
Monday.
met him. I've never shared air with him. I now see him. He's a good-looking man.
Okay. Finally.
Very well-trimmed beard.
Is he better looking than Method Man?
I wouldn't say that.
Oh,
I
wow.
think
So
that-
we're just 0 for 2 now.
Walter
they're both good
Hawkins.
I'm putting you down for meth.
Where are we on George Clooney? Where are we on Clooney?
There's an update. And this is a segment I like to call Mike Was Right. I love those. So,
Do you want to do it as a victory lap?
no. Especially, do I have to? Don't make me.
I think you have
I don't
to.
want to. I don't want to pretend I'm running. George Clooney, who has a dye job, but is famously salt and pepper guy. A guy owns the gray look. Everyone here yesterday was having a go for him, not considering that, hey, George Clooney is doing this for a role. So here is him giving an interview to Gayle King, talking about the dye job in question.
I have to take a moment looking at you with the dark hair.
I know it's not good.
I didn't say it wasn't good.
Oh, it's not
but
good.
It's jarring to me. I wonder what it's like for you when you get up in the morning and you look. By now, I'm sure you're used to it. But
I'm not used to it. You never get used to it.
You don't.
Listen, I started getting
It
gray.
throws me a little bit.
25.
Yeah.
So I've been gray most of my life. So it's not my favorite look. And my wife,
Yes.
she doesn't. She thinks it's funny.
What do your children say?
Well, they laugh at it because honestly, nothing makes you look older than being 63 and dyeing your hair.
It's genuinely bizarre to have somebody who's been a sex symbol for the last 30 years in this country be uncomfortable because people are able to mock him as not attractive.
I mean, where are we in life if everyone's having a go at George Clooney's appearance? Like, really? This guy could have perennially been sexiest man on the planet for several years running. He's a charming devil. Even look at how self-deprecating he is there. Even with, I might have just fallen in love with dyed hair George Clooney because I've long since been in love with Silver Fox George Clooney.
He looks like a museum piece. He looks like he's made of wax because of the hair.
He needs a little wispy mustache to go with it.
It's like when people do those viral stunts where they're like, we pretended to be homeless for a day to see how people. It's like George Clooney's pretending to be ugly, and now he's living his life as someone who's not hot, and it's wow. He's like, this is terrible.
It reminds me of my dad. Well, Bill Cote, when I was like a teenager and he was aging, he's in his 50s or whatever. He had really gray hair, okay? He was the kind of guy who it would be totally gray one day, and then you would see my dad the next day, and he would have shiny jet black hair.
That was my dad.
Your dad.
That was my father.
Your dad would, like, stun me with his eyebrows.
No. Listen, my mother was mortified because Poppy, during his heyday leadership days, would go from straight gray to straight black from one day to the next every 6 months or so.
Yeah. You can't do that. You can't go like night to day. You got to either stay on top of it or progress. Like, that's shocking. It's like, remember when Vince McMahon came out of hiding? It's like, whoa. Why does he look like he's about to welcome you into a haunted mansion?
Yeah, my dad loved Grecian Formula was the name of the product. And the funniest part was that nobody would say anything. Like, he wouldn't explain his altered appearance.
No, it couldn't be spoken.
Would mention it.
It couldn't be spoken.
Just buried.
What is it with men of that generation? I've never seen my grandfather. He's, I think, 84. I've never seen him with a gray hair. So I think he's got natural black hair the entire time. I don't know.
He went to
the hospital, Dan.
Mike's father has a perfect head of hair that doesn't have a gray hair in it.
It's got some gray on the sideburns, but no, my dad is often accused of dyeing his hair, and I'd be all over that too. I've been trying to prove this one for a long time. No, not the case. Although lots of Botox.
The Latin man, though, there's something happening here with the Latin man. Greg can go from... I think your mom has probably been frustrated by a couple of times where your dad has let it go too gray and then sharply goes rust after that. That McMahon photo is always shocking. You cannot come out of hiding looking like that.
That seems natural.
It's the mustache.
You cannot come out of hiding looking like that.
I mean, Greg Williams did it too, though. That may be the way to come out of hiding.
No, you can't come out of hiding innocent of crimes with all of that. It can't be
thin mustache. That's the key.
It's been suggested on the internet that this thin mustache was put in place to cover up a botch of some sort. Because if you've seen him since, he's done away with the mustache and he looks much better than he did now. Like, if you look around the lip, it is a little puffy. I think that this was a disguise to distract you from what was going on underneath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that. Lopsided mustache.
Stan Van Gundy apologizes profusely from a hotel in Houston. I told him he has nothing to apologize for. We have not had better segments than that recently. In the middle of it, though, because I'm trying to reach Stan Van Gundy and we've discombobulated him, I believe we just witnessed Stan Van Gundy's worst public out-of-touch moment in the history of out-of-touch moments.
I thought you were going to say that's what he apologized for when you started saying he apologized. I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad he thought about it for a few seconds and was like, yeah, that was crazy. It's much better to get fired with millions of dollars than what the vast majority of people get, which is a swift kick in the ass out the door.
If Samson had merely said what Stan Van Gundy was saying, he might not have been invited back.
Oh, please. Yes, he would.
Okay. He said things similar, but even Samson texted me after.
He said way worse.
Samson texted me afterwards. He's like, I've never even thought that. That is so crazy. So we even asked him, have you ever been fired from a job where you haven't been paid millions of dollars? And he cited Wisconsin. And we did some research.
He apparently had 4 years left on a 5-year deal when he was fired from Wisconsin. However, all of the articles in the Trib are paywalled, and I can't find a exact number, but I'm assuming they paid out his contract. So maybe it wasn't millions, but...
Now, I don't want to be tone deaf to the shame that comes with being fired. Like, I've never had to deal with Shams tweeting out that I've been fired, and then people say, like, yet. Well, knock on wood. But there's that, where you get a nice little multi-million-dollar compensation package, or, the shame of your family leaving you. And not being able to afford a roof over your head, or heat in the winter, or we have to give up the dog because I can't pay for the dog's food anymore, or asking a friend for a ride for work, or explaining this gap in your resume when you're trying to get another job. I mean, there's no comparison.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I thought Stan Van Gundy was calling to apologize for his take that reading a book when you haven't read a book is sort of weird. But in this case, you know what? I agree with everything Stan Van Gundy said. I think when you're fired, and luckily I've never been fired, I imagine that when you're fired, you don't go first to, well, at least I'm still making a lot of money. You go first to the ego blow and to the shame and to the embarrassment and maybe to the anger if you don't think you deserve to be fired.
Because you don't have to. It doesn't have to be the first thing you think about. Because if you're in one of these extremely lucrative jobs, it's probably not something you think about. And that's the luxury of being fired with one of these high-paying jobs.
I am going to have to make Stan Van Gundy, I'm going to make fun of him when I talk to him, because I do understand how everyone heard that the same way I did with, oh, poor Mike Budenholzer. Now he has to listen to us say he's not a good coach.
By the way, I was saying he wasn't a good coach when he won Coach of the Year.
He won 61 games in Atlanta, and I didn't believe he was a good coach. He won Giannis the only championship he's going to ever win him, and I don't believe he's a good coach.
Someone please fire me and tell me I'm a bad coach. I want to be a fired college football coach so bad. Tell me I suck. Write about me on the Reddit message boards. I don't care.
Bad last name for a coach.
It's a bad last name for a coach.
Yeah, you can't be a Budenholzer and expect to go through life of success.
All right, so
I think he's been pretty successful.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you be named Budenholzer and be successful? But I want to go back for a second, just quickly. Stan sounded out of touch as a competitionaholic who's saying it's such a great shame to be fired, to be told by everybody, ridiculed. You're bad at your job. You failed. You failed, you and your friends. But for him not to understand, I'm going to lose my pet. Mike Ryan concocted a scenario where someone has been fired and can no longer afford to have a pet.
Hold on, it's a Greg Cote Wednesday, so we have to clarify. You mean an animal, not a fart.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jess.
Jess, an excellent point.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Let a pet versus...
Right, no. So Mike Ryan said, I saw a story. I want to give you guys some numbers here. And
Louis Riddick signed his beard.
Is that he is. Look at him. He looks like a Lothario.
I'm sorry, I broke into programming there.
You did, but I'm looking at him now. No, he is absolutely...
I need a spray bottle like you're an animal, and I just... Stop doing that.
Mike today is going to watch more ESPN than he's watched in a long time because Kevin Clark and Feinbaum are coming up here soon. But you guys have derailed me a little bit. What are you laughing about, Chris Cote?
The watch.
Louis Riddick is distracting.
Yeah, it derailed me too, man.
Roy?
Yeah, distracting.
Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan, here to remind you that Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. Now, if you're a legacy listener, you know all the great playoff memories that we've had down here on the ice, and especially on the hardwood. A lot of deep runs for the Miami Heat down here. A lot of great memories. Look, I couldn't be in the bubble. Lord knows I tried. That run that we made against Denver, it was an incredible time to be a basketball fan down here, and there's nothing like playoff basketball live. So why don't you download the Game Time app? Because Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets a tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. And don't forget, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Ever feel like your paycheck disappeared before you even know where it went? You're not alone. Tracking your spending can be tricky, especially when little expenses sneak up on you. Late night food deliveries, I'm raising my hand, that happens to me all the time. Impulse online shopping, sporting event tickets, and don't even get me started on organic baby wipes and diapers. I mean, that's costing me a fortune right now. Finances can feel overwhelming, but Monarch Money makes it simple. Think of it as your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop just earning and start growing. More than just a budgeting app, Monarch Money is a complete financial command center, helping you manage accounts, investments, and goals all in one place. Le Batard Show listeners get 50% off their first year by using code DAN at monarchmoney.com. Without a clear financial picture, your biggest money goals can feel out of reach. Monarch Money makes managing your finances effortless, even for busy lives. It syncs all your accounts, credit cards, and investments so you always know where your money stands. No more guessing, no more stress, just a clear, organized view of your financial life. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DAN at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DAN, D-A-N.
Hey, you in the audience, it's Mike. You've been a fan of this show, hopefully, for a long time, and you know how much Miller Lite means to me. This partnership, it's real. It's documented. For almost 20 years, Miller Lite has been a partner of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, and now Miller Lite is celebrating its 50th anniversary. I've had so many great moments with Miller Lite, so many great activations, so many great events presented by Miller Lite, a great partner. Cheers to them. Cheers to 50 incredible years. And for you at home, you know that Miller time always means a good time. From game night to parties with friends or a special anniversary, celebrating important occasions means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer since 1975. Now's a perfect time to celebrate legendary stories with friends, family, and a great tasting light beer. It's Miller time. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Dan Le Batard.
Baker Mayfield tearing up Tampa Bay, 38 for 45.
Stugotz.
Shred 'em!
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Underrail you and get you back on the subject of NBA coaches, because The Athletic put out they do this thing every year where they get a bunch of people to vote on like most overrated player, and it's like other NBA players voting on it. And one of the questions that they asked, there were 73 players that voted on this. It said, aside from your own current coach, who is the worst coach in the league? So I was reading all of the results to all of these questions last night to Lehman, and I got to this one and I was like, I don't know who this person is. So they must be the worst coach because I've never heard of them. And I said their name to him, and he watches a ton of basketball, and he's like, I've never heard of this man in my life. But do you guys know who Brian Keefe is?
No, I don't know who Brian Keefe is. Does anybody?
No.
Who is Brian Keefe?
Apparently he's the head coach of the Wizards.
What? He must be really bad at that. He must be really bad at doing that. But when he loses his job, he's not going to be talking to his wife saying, I think we need to take our daughter out of ballet.
Actually, rich guy.
I want to run some numbers by you guys. As Mike Ryan, and thank you for the clarification, Jess, it is not a pet as in the Greg Cote household where they refer to farts as the letting of a pet. It's the actual loss of a pet, which is where Mike Ryan lost me and went a bridge too far. However, an article that I read, about a pill, and there are a lot of ethical questions around it. It's called Loyal. It can extend the life of your pets. And when they ran some numbers, I was surprised by a couple of things. First of all, 47% of American households have a dog. Stunned by that. I did not think it would be that high. At Le Batard Show, 47% under or over American households that have a dog.
That's a Wits and Wagers question. Have you guys ever played the board game Wits and Wagers?
I'm not even familiar.
Oh my God, it's so great, Dan. It's a game where there's like these questions, and it's every answer is a number. So it's like, what percentage of American families own a dog? what percentage of Americans have tattoos? What year was the Sistine Chapel painted? Like things like that, where it has to be an answer that's a number. And then you write down your guess on a little whiteboard and you put it all in the middle. Everyone lines it up from smallest to biggest, and then you wager on whose number is closest. And once you get going, you get a lot of money in the bank and you start wagering more and more. And you're like, I know what year the Mona Lisa was painted. I'm betting the house on this. But you can also put a fake number and try to get people off the scent. Because if my sister's playing with me and I'm like, she knows I know my art history, and whatever number I put down is going to be close, I'm going to put down a different number. Then we can play mind games with each other. Oh, it's the greatest game on earth. But this pet question was one of them.
47% sounds ridiculous.
It is ginormous. And the other thing that was in it, how much do you think a gallon of milk weighs? How much do you think it weighs?
I know.
Go ahead.
3 pounds.
Wrong. You would have lost. I would have wagered the over, and I would have won, because it's like 8 pounds.
Really?
It's crazy. This game blows my mind consistently.
That's insane.
Anyways, that's a plug for my second favorite game behind Monopoly deal, so you're welcome, everyone.
But there are families that if you lose their job, that is one more mouth to feed. That service that feeds my dog is on auto pay. You know, you're going to look at every single itemized thing in your bill and look at where to cut, and some people will settle on, yeah, I can't have my dog anymore.
The other number that surprised me, and again, it's an ethical debate because the pill has not been FDA approved, but it is lengthening the lives of pets. And this particular pill, some of the testing that they've done, 76% of pet owners, 3/4 of pet owners would go into debt for their pet. What are you laughing about?
Just the rhyme. It was great.
Just the rhyme?
Yeah, and it would go and the rhythm you said it would go into debt for their pet.
Three-quarters of pet owners, and I'm assuming birds are in here too. I love animals.
Goldfish.
I love animals that way, but debt? Mike Ryan is concocting the scenario where you have to throw your pet in the street because you've been fired from your job.
No, you could either give it to someone else or take it to a pound. I'm sure they'll be fine.
I actually took that pill myself because I got a dog in me.
That dog.
Well, if you
I got that
like
dog in me.
It would have been so good if you nailed it.
So
You have a dog in you?
The and at, very important.
You have a dog inside of you.
Major penalty, 5 minutes, swooning comedy.
You could hear his confidence.
I heard in your ear them say,
Liar!
Stugotz's headphones are so loud,
I know they are loud. Yeah. Where's the button to turn them down?
He was so unfamiliar with the term that he was like, that surely has to be in proper grammar.
He corrected the grammar just enough to ruin the joke.
I have a dog in me.
I have a dog presently inside of me. There is a dog that is fully inside me.
Get out of here.
They found it when they did
Yes,
the
how do you not know how penalties work? Yes.
Penalty box.
5 minutes. Oh,
it's a pull door. It's been a pull door forever.
Chris.
Do we have a replay of him trying to push that door?
I'll tell you what happened. Please get the replay, Chris.
It's no wonder he doesn't know who Andrew Hawkins is. He doesn't even know how to exit.
Walter
doesn't even know how to exit the studio.
I like that there's some scenario in an alternate universe where Roy and Jeremy have never worked on the same day and they've never heard of each other.
Right. Oh, yeah. Right, yeah.
Jessica, some of your coworkers yesterday got together for a party, and I'm sorry I did not make it. I wished to make it, but I was told very late in the proceedings that such a party existed, and I missed it in the Slack. I don't know where it was in the Slack. Who attended that moved you?
The people that had to drive a far distance moved me because I would not have done the same for them.
It's a hard drive.
Some people were on a red eye that morning.
Some people showed up off a red eye from Vegas, and they looked pretty tired. And I said, I'm surprised you're here. But then I realized this is a hair of the dog situation. You got to keep it rolling. Because as soon as you hit the pillow.
Nothing a PK can't fix it, right?
A little TSO.
PK3.
A little TSO. But I was very tired. And I definitely needed that drink. But I also said, this means a lot to me. And it was just a normal Tuesday where we could drink, but that's all it was. Hey, let's go out and have a couple of drinks. I'm like, I need to be here for this because I love drinks. I have a dog inside of me.
Just another Tuesday in Miami. Were you surprised by any of those numbers? 76% of pet owners would go into debt for their dog. Would you go into debt for Willow?
Well, the reality is, like, owning a pet is really expensive. If something goes wrong, like, I know Mike's dog had to get, like, a really expensive surgery done. And a lot of people are in the position where they're like, my dog is sick. They go to the vet. The vet's like, we need to do this, like, emergency surgery. If you don't, like, your dog's going to die or your cat's going to die, and it's going to cost $10,000. And maybe you don't have that money just laying around. Most people don't. And yeah, I could easily see why you'd go into debt paying for something, especially when it's like a life or death situation. You care about your pet and you don't know what to do.
Did go into debt paying for my dog who had an autoimmune disease, and it was life-saving, but she got it within the first 8 months of her life. It turned out to be great because she's lived a happy and full life there, but it was $10,000 to save my dog's life in a single income family. That was, it wasn't easy.
So bad to get fired because you might lose your pets.
Yeah.
Greg, how is it, Chris, and you help me with this because we have not done enough of a job today promoting your father's Exactos and your father's mock draft and your father's podcast, The Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote. But you have seen, Chris, you've been front row seat witness to today's show through Stan and Samson careened live out of control for a long time, and your dad spun out. And then he spun out and tried to leave the studio, didn't know how the penalty box worked anymore, and tried to leave through a door as if he didn't understand how doors work.
Pushed the door, called Andrew Hawkins, Walter Hawkins. It's not
you spun out.
Not been great for you.
In fairness, Andrew Hawkins, a generic name. Okay, if you have a particularly unusual name, I'm more apt to place a face than if you have a name John Smith or
So Hawkins
like
is.
I only know one other.
Andrew Hawkins is a very good-looking man. So's Method Man. They both look like they could be People Sexiest Man of the Year.
Okay, very good. I'm
really
glad
do.
we finally closed the loop on that.
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to do here today before we got out of here is to remember and celebrate, because the sports machine can move very fast, and it seems, I don't think I have this wrong, more often than not, we're talking around here about somebody who died. I don't know if it's more often than not.
I would doubt that.
It's too often. More often than we ever have. We're stopping to take a somber tone about somebody who left a mark on us in the sports world when Mike Patrick, during a time in football when it was growing in this country, when ESPN had the kind of signature voice for 18 straight years on Sunday Night Football, because ESPN was getting into the football game, making it bigger and bigger in America, one of the signature voices was Mike Patrick. And quietly, a great broadcaster for 20 years on Sunday Night Football. Somehow, I would say, escaped much of the withering criticism that will come down on the head of every broadcaster today, including Al Michaels, because, your tone's not good there, your energy's not good, you sound like an old man, get out of the way, old man. Mike Patrick, universal praise, dies at the age of 80. And Mike, I don't know what you associate with him, but what I associate with him is talking to him, hearing his dulcet voice, and then being surprised when he said what a rigorous smoker he was. Like that, that just being taken aback, just assuming that he would be somebody who would always protect those blessed pipes.
I loved Mike Patrick on ACC basketball. Did a lot of great memorable games with Dick Vitale. I saw Dick Vitale posted a tribute to Mike Patrick when he was the voice of Sunday Night Football, paired with Joe Theismann. And I know people had some feelings and they were replaced. But for me, that was when I was in high school watching Sunday Night Football, and it was a marquee game, and he was the voice attached to it, and he was one of my favorites. I love that broadcast team. I thought they were hilarious. I love Mike Patrick's style of doing those games, so I was made very sad by that. I know he hadn't been doing it for a while, and it's just another reminder that the older that you get, the more of these people that have had influence on your life, on your career even, are going to go.
Do you know how rare it is these days when criticism is the main sport to be a broadcaster that can live your lifespan and then die, and you will not hear very much of a bad word as any of that was happening? Like even Joe Buck like a child prodigy is viewed as someone that, oh, he doesn't root for my team or he's partial. If you're always broadcasting the games, I don't think that people understand how difficult it is to be someone who is quietly professional in the broadcast space, never to look at me, so it never becomes Gus Johnson or whatever it is has personality that evolves the game, but doesn't stay totally out of the way of the game. Because Mike Patrick was sort of like Vern Lundquist in this space where you're like, oh my God, his voice reminds me of a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday night, raspy. It seems like he's got a drink in his hand. It sounds like he might be wearing a broadcaster, colorful broadcaster coat, and I might hear the tinkle of a glass of ice. He's calling Sunday Night Football.
There might be a reason for that. There might be a reason that type of broadcaster that reminds you of, hey, they could be doing this with a cocktail in their hands. It's because they probably were back then because it was more acceptable. We're never getting those guys back. Guys with that vibe don't exist anymore.
Who's allowed to skate now? I say this, I'm asking you guys this question genuinely. Who's allowed to skate as a broadcaster who lives an entire lifespan on a stage as large as something like 18 years on Sunday Night Football? Because you guys saw how the Fangs came out for Dick Vitale and Lee Corso. Like, you're not... Mike Patrick bowed out before the criticism got to him.
No, I don't think so. I remember there was a website that fired Joe Morgan was a blog that popped up. When I was in high school, wasn't so much social media, but it was these blogs, and Mike Patrick got replaced from Sunday Night Football because people felt a certain way about him. And then his assignments started getting worse and worse as he got older, and then social media came along, and then you realize, oh, people don't feel the way that I feel about Mike Patrick, who I thought was generally awesome. And I just miss the time where, yeah, people had their opinions maybe, but they weren't just totally pushed into those opinions because of social media just trying to gather steam behind a take. Like, I thought broadcasting when I was growing up was amazing. I didn't have any bad opinions about anybody. Hell, man, I thought Phil Simms was good. And now you open up the internet and you find out, like, wait, no one thinks anyone is good? This is kind of bullshit.
Is that where we are? Like, no one's any good now. No one. Noah Eagle is getting a lot of praise, right?
Yeah, but he also gets shit too.
Ernie Johnson.
Harlan's
who's above reproach?
So I think that there's like a few guys, and I think Buck is like coming out of the other side. Like, he's not nearly as polarizing because now he's been around for over a generation. There's like the people that are tastemakers right now were kids growing up recognizing that Joe Buck is a soundtrack of a big game.
He's had like a I don't give a shit vibe for the last like 6 years that I think has resonated.
Mm-hmm. And I think that Harlan, Joe Tess, Bob Wischusen on the hockey side, Joe Buck, Iron Eagle, like
Spero Dedes.
Well, no one can say Mo Alley Cox the way that Spero Dedes can. 1 o'clock window, Mo Alley Cox. That's Spero Dedes. But yeah, there's a few guys there.
Not true, Dan.
No one can say that.
I've just lost so many Mo Alley Cox overs, 13.5 yards.
Because he catches a 12-yard touchdown. That's the thing. You got to bet the anytime touch.
Can we put it on the poll? Can anyone scream touchdown Mo Alley Cox the way that Spero Dedes can?
Can I just get 2 catches?
Just 2.
You're getting 1.
Just 2. But it might be over 7.5 yards.
You're going to get 1 for 6 yards?
It's a touchdown, though.
The AFC South. At 1 o'clock window, Spero.
That's beautiful.
It's a great
thing. It's like Colts, Raiders, 1 o'clock. They got to come over to this side.
Voices that belong in time zones. Spero Dedes, 1 o'clock, AFC South. Yes. Get me there, pal.
Ernie Johnson is above reproach, right? Everyone likes, like, if I were to say highest of the Q ratings anywhere, not going to cause any polarizations. What's the top of the food chain on? I like just hearing this person around sports. I have no bad opinions of him. I don't think he roots against my team. I don't think he's an asshole. I don't think he's an egomaniac. I don't dislike his opinions. He's just a nice man on television. Nice person on television.
I think Bob Lee was like that.
Yeah.
I think Mike Tirico is sort of like that. Just benign in a good way, not polarizing, very professional.
You'll never hear a woman on this list because
I was going to say Doris Burke.
Even if they're amazing at their job.
Doris Burke's a good example.
No, but she's right. She's right that by virtue of simply being a woman talking about sports, she could be all of these people, and it's
polarizing
when it need not be.
Chris Whittingham,
Steve Martin also.
How'd that poll come back, by the way? Does he suck at everything except soccer? Or?
At Batard Show, we will update the polls after the show.
Hey, Hey, you in the audience, it's Mike. You've been a fan of this show, hopefully, for a long time, and you know how much Miller Lite means to me. This partnership, it's real. It's documented. For almost 20 years, Miller Lite has been a partner of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, and now Miller Lite is celebrating its 50th anniversary. I've had so many great moments with Miller Lite, so many great activations, so many great events presented by Miller Lite, a great partner. Cheers to them. Cheers to 50 incredible years. And for you at home, you know that Miller time always means a good time. From game night to parties with friends or a special anniversary, celebrating important occasions means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer since 1975. Now's a perfect time to celebrate legendary stories with friends, family, and a great tasting light beer. It's Miller time. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Hey folks, it's Mike Ryan, here to remind you that Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. Now, if you're a legacy listener, you know all the great playoff memories that we've had down here on the ice, and especially on the hardwood. A lot of deep runs for the Miami Heat down here. A lot of great memories. Look, I couldn't be in the bubble. Lord knows I tried. That run that we made against Denver, it was an incredible time to be a basketball fan down here, and there's nothing like playoff basketball live. So why don't you download the Game Time app? Because Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer that it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. And don't forget, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.